Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in to Stationeers episode 40. So, I tried to do a little bit of farm revitalization project, but the honest fact of the matter is it did not do too well. These plants are still dying. So, I wanted to do a quick little episode about, well, not just this episode, but a quick update about the farm revitalization. So, let's get started on that. So first things first, we need access into the farm. I'm going to cancel the pressurization phase. So as you can see, it is far too cold in here, and that's what's causing it to wilt. So here's a handy little trick. I'm going to go to exterior again. Ka-chunk. And here's what we're going to do. We are going to try to heat it up real quick before those plants die off, because I'd rather not lose the soy. So the best way to go doing that is to make road flares. Strange, right? But it'll work. Alright, for that we're going to need a little bit of iron. Come on. Ooh, I'm really low on steel too, aren't I? Alright, here's the iron. And I think something like 3 road flares should do just fine. 1, 2, 3. Alright. Let's go ahead and turn off all that we can turn off here because our batteries are hurting. Alright, let's get back in here pronto. I'm not even going to wait for it to fully cycle. I think in here we also have some unwanted X gas, but it could be... Yep. Oh, yep. Still a little bit of X and N2. That's another thing I'm going to have to deal with. Alright, so cancel the pressurization. Oh, actually, it's not that cold. It's cold enough that the plants would be happier if I warmed it up. So I'm lighting off all these road flares. These road flares don't outgas, but they do produce heat. So as you can see, the temperature in this is going to go up. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to volume pump the air to increase the pressure. It will decrease the temperature, but the road flares will take care of that. There we go. That is roughly the pressure we want. And soon, those plants will no longer be wilting. They're fine. They just don't have sunlight. Alright, so that is a quick fix save. And we can even leave the road flares in here for them to burn out. But that brings me to another point. I'm going to cycle this airlock. And I want to get the gases that I don't want in the farm out of there, right? So there's a few ways to do this. I could either pump the gas that's in there through the air scrubber or just put the air scrubber inside. And I'm just going to put the air scrubber inside. It's the easier, probably less elegant, but easier solution. And I did vow that I really didn't want to work on this this sort of farm really ever again. And then I ignored it for so long it ran out of CO2, which was the problem. So what I'm doing here is I'm literally just going to tear up the door and do this twice and sort of cut my way through. So what do I need here? How do I uninstall this thing? Angle grinder, okay. I took the power out so that I could start angle grinding it, because I think if it's powered... Oh no, even if it's powered on, it will allow me to do that. Alright, let me put that power back then, where it won't exist for a bit. And this will screw up the airlock a little bit. Let me, where's my data disk? I might need to do some reprogramming at the end of this, so I'm going to shove the data disk into my backpack and eat some fries. Okay, so let's fully disassemble this door. Crowbar, continue to construct. I don't want to construct, I want to deconstruct. So I need a hand drill. Is that a wide enough gap to get through? Or do I really need to pull it all up? Yep, I need to do it all. Another thing I could do, I won't do, but I could change the type of door this is so that I don't have this problem in the future. But the blast doors, as much as I like them, they don't have the nifty little console ports. So then I'd also be adding in a bunch of slave consoles like I did at this blast door, and I just don't want a project of that magnitude. I just know that is not something I really want to get into. Alright, so welding torch with plastic sheets. And we're going to have to do this twice. It seems insane, right? I mean, it's kind of like when you've got a couch that's too big for a door. You have to, like, disassemble the door to get through. Alright, composite door open. And close. And now, you also have to be careful in confined spaces with large objects like this to make sure they don't smash into you, because it's very easy to break open your suit that way. Alright, so the internal pressure, what's your problem here? Mr. Advanced Airlock. Oh my god. This, I did say I needed to be careful, and then I, like, threw it against the wall. Let me close some of my... So the doors, everything is going to need to be set up. Alright, so here's the exterior door. And then... Nothing is properly labeled, is it? Exterior vent, interior vent. Alright, let's just copy. Airlock, interior door, airlock, exterior door. Alright, that should be enough to go off of. I don't know what active vent that is. What does it want from me? Why are you pissing and moaning? Alright, let's go ahead and remove everything and start over. And I'm going to have to do this yet again, which is really annoying, because then I have to tear up the other door. The problem is... Well, actually... No, these are locked. I could just vent everything out. That I could do manually. Why are... Okay, fine. This thing wants to be fussy and misbehave. Goodbye. You're powered down. Sorry, Hal. I'm gonna bypass around it. And the reason is, I really just want to vacuum pressurize this little section of the airlock. I don't want to redesign the whole airlock system right now. So now it's vacuum in here, and as proof, I will show you. We're not introducing anything. And then what we could do is open this up. It's going to piss the plants off, because they're going to lose some pressure. Actually, it might not piss them off enough to cause any harm. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is to get rid of this door here that's in the way. Wrench to deconstruct. Alright, so now we have a clear path to bring this all the way in. Oh, don't smash me. And the other issue, of course, is like there's nowhere for it, because I had never really designed this to be air scrubbed. But if we're constantly getting nitrogen and oxygen in here, I do need to add it. I'm just going to need to, like, snake by it. I'll try to shove it in a good spot eventually. Alright. This door needs to get rebuilt. So I'm not exactly sure where the plastic sheet went. As you can see, this thing is very much in the way no matter where I put it. Oh, the plastic sheet's in my hand. Oh, dear Lord. Let's weld the plastic sheet to it. Bet that smells great. Crowbar with the glass sheet. And there we go. Now we have an air scrubber inside our farm. Not conveniently placed. Like I said, this was the quicker but less elegant approach. The more elegant approach was just more work than I wanted to invest. So we'll get this thing running in just a second. I just need to set up my airlocks again. So, airlock. Alright, now we're pulling all the air out of this airlock, and now it's in the... Oops, wrong way, wrong way. No, I meant to hit the top one. Then it's going to all be in that canister. So now we're in a vacuum seal. And that means that I can actually set this up correctly again. Okay, so let's go. The exterior vent, the interior vent. Let's search for door. The exterior door, the interior door. And then we need the sensor. What else does this want? Why are you flashing at me? Gave you everything you wanted. You don't need the temperature sensors. You don't need the vents. Error in config. No, there's no error. There's no error at all. Let me label this door at the very least, so that we know it's the correct one. Alright, fine. You want to piss and moan about I didn't do it right? Okay, so the advanced airlock here. Let's go through the official setup according to the wiki. What does it need? It needs, yeah, it needs exactly what I told it to need. Oh, that's annoying. Okay, so airlock gas sensor. For vents, an exterior vent and an interior vent, and then for doors. No, not door. Exterior door, interior door. Wow, it's still just not working. That's interesting. I'm not exactly sure what it's looking for, but yeah, it should be fine. Let me brainstorm real quick. Maybe I'll just destroy it. Because at this point, my doors, vents, and sensor. Yeah, what else do you want, dude? All right. Well, that's it. You're getting destroyed. You've been a bad machine. Will this fix it? Oh, I highly doubt it. But at least I'll feel a little bit better about destroying a computer. You know, smash the keyboard up. Huh, it still even had it selected. That's interesting. I'll give you the beacon light. Maybe even the LED light. Oh, maybe not the beacon light. People didn't... Where? Oh, no, I don't even want you to have the beacon. Or the LED. I'm just sort of curious if it's looking to have another one of these active vents. It really isn't. Oddly enough. Yep, so, nothing is wrong with my setup here. And yet, it won't let me in. Well, isn't that swell? That sucks. Well, I can still get out. Ha ha ha. Let's see if I leave this door open. Now you're happy. Just the door was in the wrong state. That's interesting. Alright, so let's cycle to interior. See if this does it right. So, down to nil. And then to the repressurize. Yep. Seems to be working. So apparently, yeah, this door was closed and it wanted it open or something. I don't know. Alright, so the farm looks happy. These soybeans... No sun... I guess it's sunset. They look like they're going to be yielding soon. So the only other thing, of course, is to... there's really nowhere that I'm going to be able to put this scrubber. What I could do is expand the farm one cell out and then have the scrubber on the other side, but I won't really be able to access it. Or I could have the scrubber above the ceiling. Again, not really going to be able to access it. I don't know. But we could just have the scrubber like this, I guess. So let's go ahead and build some filters for it. So let's take a look. We're leaking a little bit of Martian in here. So actually we have H2, X, N2, and O. We're always going to have a little bit of O2 because the plants produce it. So what I'm going to do is... let's make... I have no idea how hydrogen gas got produced. But let's make a few little filters here. So... filter. So we're going to want a little nitrogen filter. And for this we need iron. I thought I put the iron in there. What happened to my iron? Oh, I put it in the tools for the road flares. Okie doke. And what I'll do is I will make sure to properly filter everything and then leave the O2 filters in. So, nitrogen. What else do we have? We had some pollutant in there. We had oxygen. It's weird to think that oxygen is a gas we don't even want, but that's fine. And then we also had some volatiles. Oh, that's for the heavy filter, though. We just want a regular one. We can't afford the heavy ones. Yeah, I'm still sort of scratching my head as to how volatiles even got introduced in there, but whatever. It's in there, and we can filter it out. It's like trace amounts, so trace that it didn't even read as a percentage, but if it shows up, it exists, oddly enough. Alright. Pressurize me. Oh, now it's not even reading that it's in here. So, I guess it really wasn't. So the first thing we're going to want to do is get the nitrogen and oxygen out. So, we also didn't bring a battery, did we? No, I did not. Alright, so the nitrogen filter's in there. And the pollutant filter's in there. But let's go get ourselves a battery. This poor Airlock's like, make up your mind, in or out. And I'm like, both? Keep cycling? I mean, you were built to cycle out. So, that's what you're going to do. Come on. Yep, once I hit vacuum, you're allowed to let me out. Nuclear battery is definitely overpowered for this purpose. A small battery lasts about 15 minutes. A nuclear battery? God, I have no idea. It's probably going to last like 100 hours. But at least I won't have to worry about it for a bit. No, up to 108, 109. Beautiful. Alright, Mr. Portable Air Scrubber, here's your battery. Turn it on. And as you can see, the X and the N2 is dropping. And once it hits 0, I can switch the filters out. As long as I'm careful about cycling the airlock, it should probably not have any further issues with those pollutants. The portable air scrubber is really good tool to remove trace amounts of anything. I think it's wonderful. Okay, so let's go ahead and replace the nitrogen filter with the oxygen one. And now this is going to filter out our oxygen out of here as well. Which is going to be a task that the filter will have to constantly do because we're constantly making new oxygen. I don't really need to filter out the oxygen because the way the pressurization is set up, there is some sort of passive filtering. Because what ends up happening, as I repeated when I originally built this, the back pressure regulator pulls air when the air is over 108, which it is. It's at 109, so it's pulling a little bit of air in this passive vent. A teeny bit. It's not even making wind lines, but enough that it is happening. And then this keeps pushing out air above 110, so these two regulators are fighting, creating a flow. Right? It's creating a flow, and that flow will very slowly and passively remove oxygen from the atmosphere. Meaning that this doesn't need to stay on. The oxygen might build up, so it's helpful to having the oxygen filters left in here, in case I do need the air scrubber. But at the moment, the air scrubber is doing exactly what it needs to do, scrubbing the air. And it's now the correct pressure, the correct temperature, and not have any foreign unwanted gases. Cool. So, problem solved, maybe? I don't know. It's funny, we use these filters, and yet, because I removed microscopic amounts of gas, these filters are fully healthy. I'll put them away. There's probably not that much of a likelihood that I end up with, like, nitrogen or volatiles in my suit, but if I ever need to throw them in there, it's good to have them in there. Okay. Now that the farm is all set, I'm not going to be killing the last of my soybeans, which is good. Looks like the back row needs some love, though. I'll plant it when everything is harvestable. Alright, the next project I wanted to do is a whole lot of smelting. Because I'm just about out of steel, and I'm pretty low on iron. So let's go ahead and get the smelting set up. So I'm going to start putting stuff I don't need just on the floor here. Just discarding it. Just so that I can free up some space. Even the labeler. And my... yeah, we'll put everything. We'll just dump it out. Alright. So I'm interested in making a run of steel. And then smelting all the rest of this stuff for other purposes. So let's get started. Close that. I guess it was negative temperature in here, so I didn't really need to vent it out. Let's see. How many? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 and 12. That will be quite pressurized. And let's start melting it. 5, 6, and ignition. Come on. Ignite. Kaboom. Ignite. You're killing me. The volatiles are like refusing to ignite. Am I pumping this out? I am, aren't I? Jetpack on. No, I'm not. Oh. I am pumping the other one out. So let's go turn this off. I can turn that off for now. What's going on here? Why aren't you... There we go. Alright, now it's lit up. I don't know why it took that long. Okay, so... Iron, 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 coal... And this is going to take a lot of the temperature and pressure. So steel is probably the... well, I wouldn't say it's all that finicky, but that's definitely what we're going to want most. Open the flue. Alright, there's our steel. Let's close the belt. Alright, next up, let's do some regular iron. Just toss it all in there, and then there was some out here as well. I'll grab that. And toss it in there, and it's going to make small bars of 50, and I can combine that later. And after that, we're going to have a bunch of gold and copper to do. And the coal there is just, I can ignore that. Alright, I've picked up most of what I needed to pick up. I'm just going to wait until the reagents counter is 0, meaning that we're done with the iron, because I didn't even count how many stacks I threw in. Alright, that usually indicates that we're done. Next, gold, gold, gold. As far as Celsius goes, I guess I really should have done the silicon first, because the silicon is about to get... The furnace is about to get too cold to do silicon, but gold and copper are less finicky. So I might not be able to get the silicon on this smelt, because there's just not temperature left. It's about to be too cold, like, in a second. So I might be able to get one stack, because as soon as it hits 627, it's too chilly. Yep, it's too chilly. Okay, well, that's fine. I didn't need the silicon right now, so... we can leave it there for future use. Copper, however, is less a pain in the rear about temperature sensitivity. So we'll send all that in, and then put all this back in our backpack, except for the coal. The coal can stay. I don't need a lump of coal. Alright, so this should be the last stack. And then I have to be careful about how I vent this, because the portable tanks aren't going to take everything. They're not going to take all of the pressure of my furnace, probably. Let's see. What are we at now? We are at basically vacuum. So let's try and see how much this portable tank can take. Once it reaches about 8, I will flip the switch off. Maybe it will take everything. Maybe it won't. Yeah, it's probably going to take everything. There's a lot of volume potential in this portable tank network. Yeah, we're fine. I just didn't want to have, you know, some sort of Kingdom Come eruption here, you know? It was possible that that could happen, and yeah, big old no thanks. Okay, so let's put these new materials away, and we can put them to good use in a moment. The next project I'm going to do is going to be to expand the farm up top, because I could do that after pressurizing. The issue, of course, is it's kind of annoying to have to go through airlocks for every little project. So the more I can do ahead of time, the better. And in this instance, I would really like to get my my hydroponics all laid out and looking nice before I seal up the base. Alright, so I'm going to leave that pump on. Yep, and that tank is obviously not going to overpressurize anytime soon, so that's good. And I just Supermaned. Whoa, let me down. Alright, so what I'm going to do here is make a bunch of the hydroponic basins, which is why I did all that iron, so... or trays, whatever they're called. They're basins in a different game. I spy with my little eye healthy plants that are yielding food. That is good news. I think it might be time to add another solar power panel or two here. Just because these batteries have been... that kit battery has looked very sad for a very, very, very long time. And I don't want to brown out. That would be bad. So what I'm going to do is, let me just install these trays, and then we'll just add to a little bit of the capacity of the initial. And the idea on the top floor is to just line the edge of the windows up with the trays. So if we're adding to the batteries, what do we need? We need a solar power panel, which means taking copper, gold, and iron. And then I'm going to make a few of them just so that I don't have to worry about it, because we are close. Well, we're not that close to browning out, but we're close enough that I could worry about it hypothetically and not be in the wrong. Alright, turn that off. Let's run. How many do I have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, 9 is fine. I just don't want to exceed the amount of power that we can put into a light cable, because that would be bad. Then we'd have short circuits and burnouts, and I don't want that either. Alright, and let's go ahead and weld these. Done. I'm going to need my glass sheets. So the power is the bottom. 1, 2, 3. The count can count. Alright. And cables. I have some on me. Maybe I have enough. I don't know. I could probably get up to 1 more solar power panel, 2. I don't know. I'll have to run the math if I could manage 2 before I experience issues. Something like that. So there's not a whole lot of capacity to add to this in the future. Unless I switch the cable types, which is a bigger project than I'm willing to undertake. Alright, and then magically these things sync up and they should start generating power for us. I had literally 1 cable left over. Let me crank out some cables though. Alright, let's turn this off because we're not using it. And let me get my iron back because I can use it elsewhere. So copper in there. Print the coils. Let's put our solder away. Actually, the lead we can stack. We have 2 stacks of lead, so I'm just going to stack it in the auto lathe. That's the cheap and easy way, is just to stick it in some crafting bench and you get 1 stack of stuff. Alright, that's probably enough cables for now. I'm sure it isn't, because I always use more. And then we want more basins out of this thing. Or trays, whatever. The solar power panel is immediately having an effect. As you can see, that looks happier than it was before. It's yellow, not orange. Yellow's a happier color, apparently. Says who? Says me. And let's continue lining these trays around. I also need to get blue pipes, but I do have a stack of blue pipes over here, so voila. Maybe eat some fries. I don't like getting food warnings in the middle of doing my work, so I keep up with my fry intake. Glad you guys don't have to be my cardiologist. I eat a lot of fries. Alright, so at this point, we're going to raise the hydroponic basins up 1 tile so that they can go over all these vents. They won't block it. There's still airflow, but we need to raise it up. Oh, nice. You're throwing the trays around. If you print too many, they start to fling. And that gets pretty funny. So as you're going to see, we're going to have quite the capacity for plants up here. Probably, honestly, more than I'll ever want, chances are. But, yeah, whatever. Go big. The larger your farms are, the harder it is to filter. But whatever. Maybe it... yeah, I think it does. I was thinking to myself, maybe it looks better if this is just a straight run, and then this goes like that. I do lose a little bit of capacity, but it might look a little bit better. And then on top of that, I could, let's see. I could bring the water from here, and that... Whoa! Nice! That one really air-budded. Well, they're starting to airbud like a lot, so I really ought to tamp that down. Alright, yeah, that looks a little bit visually better, I would have to say. Alright. Enough. You're flinging them everywhere. Yeah, I definitely see cause for a stacker in my future in the basement. Because now it's like, where in the world did my hydroponic tray go? Carmen Sandiego, will you help? Yes. Okay, let's fix that. We definitely could just have one more basin there. Ta-da. And then these pipes, let's just mimic what we did before, which is down. Because as you can maybe recall, these pipes are going to be hidden under the floorboards. So you're only really going to see this little blue thing here. That's all that will be visible in the future. And then that picks up, yep, it's perfectly symmetrical from the other side. Wonderful. And then I'm going to run it all the way to the side of the vent. So we did fling some... If I end up finding some hydroponic basins or trays, I can always recycle them. I don't even know. I should have gotten a head count of how many more I even needed. Let me go do that, because I don't want to have to use a recycler if I don't need to. So... I'll need one more. Cool. I can also throw this glass sheet in. Alright, so it's going to be a room with plants all along the walls. I can add more if I want to in the future, because obviously there's more floor space, but that is a lot of plants. That is, I can have like multiples of every type of plant growing all at once. Any more than that, and I'm probably going to be producing a lot of heat and producing a lot of oxygen. Really large greenhouses will do that in this game. And I don't know, if that's nice, sure, I don't want it. But, you know, some people might. And this pipe will carry water the whole way. I think it looks pretty nice. If we put floors in here, it would look even nicer. I'm not ready to floor it up yet, because there might be things that I want to add up here. No, maybe I just want this to be a garden. Yeah. So actually, let's floor this up. Let's floor this up, mimicking roughly what the bottom floor looks like. Then we also have to decide on lights, physical lights. So I would say physical lights could be something like this. Let me grab this stack of lights. So we don't really have the capacity to put a whole lot of lights anywhere, because there's just not a lot of surfaces for it. But I was thinking long-angled here, and then long-angled like this, maybe. I'm not exactly sure what kind of light this will produce, but yeah, I mean, we really only have one pillar, one surface. I guess we can also, yeah, that's what I'll do. I can, weld, okay, here's some sheets. I can weld these frames here and put some lights over here instead. And I think I'm going to like that better than where I put it before. This will cast pretty harsh shadows, though, so I might want to have to figure out how to generate light on this side of the room, too. Because I don't want extremely harsh shadows anywhere. It just makes it harder to work. So this will be a wall light long, not angled. The top one's going to be angled so it points down a little bit. And of course I'm going to need to bring the orange cables all the way up here. Let me call the elevator. I'm just kind of excited about that. All right, so if I wanted to, let's see. I guess the next step is to grab my orange paint and paint these cables orange. Oh, all right. Hopefully tomorrow morning this actually tops up. I'll have to keep an eye out. I could add one more solar power panel without having to worry too much about overpower. But at some point, I will only be comfortable if that thing continues to be well powered. So I'm just plugging in one cable in so they can float, and that way I can deconstruct the frames and the lights won't fall, or the sheets rather, whatever. All right, so if I want power out here, that's kind of tricky. It might actually be easier to have light floating in the ceiling somewhere. So let's see if I'm able to do something like that. So I'm going to disassemble a few of these windows up here. Oops. Didn't really mean to disassemble that one. I'll probably need to actually disassemble that one anyway. So maybe I should go ahead and do that. This one didn't have glass. Did it never? Maybe it never did. I'm really gonna have to do like a big long get ready checklist when it comes time to firing everything up, because there's just so many little components and things that are so easy to overlook in this giant base design that it would be very easy to think that this base is ready and then turn it on and realize I was very wrong. Alright, there we go. At this point, I need to go get some frames. And then I'm going to try to have it be as little ugly as possible. I don't know how possible that is, but running the cables between the cracks of the windows, or the frames of the windows, stuff like that. We'll see. We'll take a look. Alright, so if I want more light up here, which I definitely do. Yeah, actually, long angled right there might just be fine. It does mean that I'm going to have to move this blue... Oh, and that blue cable burned out. Huh. Is that something... I'm curious if that's from before I hooked up the transformer. I'm thinking it is, because with this transformer, that literally should not be possible. Unless somewhere the light and heavy cables cross. That would be the only way for it to ever burn out like that. But I'm glad I found that just by chance. So let's go ahead and fix that. Let's see, what do we need to do? We need to color this blue. And then heater turns on and AC turns on. It blinks because, you know, it doesn't have coolant, but that's a different matter. Yeah, so if it turns on, it means I don't have any more power interruptions between that and the transformer, which is good. So that's sort of self-diagnosing. I am a little concerned about why it burned out in the first place. That is the greater mystery to me. But that mystery is going to have to wait just a tad because I'm working on these lights. And I would like to add at least one cable in each so that they can float, so to speak. So let's get up there. And then I'm also going to have to keep an eye on the power of the first survival shack, or whatever you want to call it, to make sure that it's generating the power it should. So what I'm going to do here is I'll have to route this, which is not great because it's going to be a long run of rerouting. My cables are sloppy. I had this discussion on Discord, actually, and basically justified my cables being sloppy because I could clean them up. But I don't think having you all watch me clean up my cables for, like, oodles and oodles and oodles of time as being decent entertainment value. I think that would bore you pretty quickly. If I was just... I mean, maybe it's a little meditative, but to watch me just move cables around would put me to sleep, too. All right, well, on printing those cables, let's take a quick look at our farm. Man, I am multitasking all over the place. I hope you guys are following. Alright, I also want to take out my atmospheric analyzer. And somehow or another, X and N2 got back into the mix. It must be in the tanks outside, because I'm not introducing it. So that just means I need to air scrub for it constantly. Alright, so our soybeans are good. And I'm going to plant soybeans in the back row too, because I'm low on soybeans, and potatoes have a higher yield anyway. Man, the future farm is going to be a lot easier, isn't it? Alright, let's put these potatoes away. So we yielded 6. That's not bad. So right now we have a scrubber for oxygen and... what was the other scrubber? Pollutant. How do I even have pollutant in here if I'm scrubbing for it? Game, come on now. Is this not on? That's got to be me, right? There's no way. All right, so let's go get a nitrogen scrubber as well, and then try to diagnose this gas leak. Because I've been letting the... oh, you know what? It could be in the canister, too. I'm going to have to figure out where it is. Alright. But before I do that, let's not build the leaning tower of cable coils. As fun as that is. Because then it topples over and creates quite a mess. No, I don't want soybeans. Just let me collect the cables. Alright, so I will figure out the atmospherics of the farm right after I finish off the cabling here, or I'm just never going to remember to do this. So it was running up and over like this. Corner, and then now I can't even really see the cables, but I can still install them. And the proof that I've done this, oops, let's drop that. The proof I've done this correctly will be that it powers on. That is the test. And do you, my dear, power on? You do. Alright. Mission sort of accomplished. And that allows this light right here, let me just attach that cable. This allows this light to then be plugged into something without interfering with the blue. Which means that I can remove these little horns or whatever, I don't know. The frames, and then grab my cutters. I'm gonna put this back to sort of more or less the way it was, and then I'll diagnose the leakage or whatever is coming through there. So then let's do walls. composite window, one on the tops. And then one for the inside. Alright, I should have plastic sheets. And I do. So it doesn't look perfect, but it is going to provide the best light I can get, you know, for the effort or whatever. Let's go grab some glass sheets and finish off those windows. And I'll probably check each and every window that they're double paned before I, you know, I pull the trigger on pressurization. Because a lot of these are probably not double paned. So some of them are, but a lot of them aren't. Okay. Leakage time. Put my angle grinder away. Take out my diagnostics tool. So CO2 is pure CO2. Water is pure water. The CO2 pipe. All right, so it's not coming from the inputs. It's coming from somewhere else. That I can say for sure. So I think it is the airlock canister. That would be my assumption. Oh, wait. Oh, no. I meant to grab the other scrubber, the filter. Oh, well. I can do that in a moment. All right, so we have pollutant and... Come on. Oxygen. But we really want nitrogen. So let me get back out here and go grab my nitrogen scrubber. And I think what's going on is just the canister that's right here has some Mars atmosphere that it keeps reintroducing. So what I'm going to do is vacuum out that canister entirely so that it has no opportunity to be the issue. Okay, so I was grabbing the nitrogen filter. Back inside we go. And it's pressurizing. And over the course of time, as I cycle this, you know, it does sort of self-filter, but it's not going to be fast enough for me. All right, so now we took out the oxygen filter. Looks like we've used about 5%. So the pollutant filter is still at 100%. So we really haven't used a lot of the filter's capacity. The X that was in the atmosphere was already gone. It was such trace amounts that it got filtered out really fast. And this canister has some extra gas in it. And as suspected, the extra gas does have some X. So even if I remove X from this farm, the canister is just going to keep reintroducing the X, so let's fix that. The easiest way to fix that is to make another canister, because I need the canister for the airlock to work, because otherwise what ends up happening is this vent pumps it into the piping that the canister is attached to, and it super pressurizes that pipe. And I don't want a blowout. I don't think it would cause a blowout. Like, it's not that sensitive, but I'm not going to run that risk anyway. So let's just make a second canister and then install the second canister and then also analyze the pipe that this vent is attached to make sure that the pipes themselves don't also have X. Solve for X. I feel like I'm in math class. Yep, and as you can see, it has a little bit of N2 and X, but they're very, very quickly getting filtered out. This isn't really a problem that needs a solution like this, to be honest. Because it is a problem that is being solved constantly. But yeah, there was X in these pipes. So this new canister, of course, has X in it. So the way to solve this for real is to then come in with a wrench. So let me do a two-part fix here. I know this episode's running a little long, but I think all of you are fine with that, I hope. So I need to vacuum out this canister that I have. And the easiest way to do that without just then filling it with Martian air, is to go to my furnace, because my furnace does have the ability to vacuum fully. Right? It was literally designed that way. So let's go ahead and turn off some of this stuff, because we don't need it. Cool. Yep. Turn that off. Close that. So, if I turn on the vent here, it vacuums this room fully. So if I open the canister here, what's going to end up happening is the canister empties out into the room, and then the room pulls all the air out. So now this canister is vacuum sealed. Or, not sealed, but totally empty of all gas. And I could turn off that vent. And actually, let's just turn off the whole furnace. I don't really need it on anymore. Might as well save myself some power. Alright, so now that we have a true empty canister, again, the second one we manufactured, let's cycle this. This might throw some errors, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the piping. Now, one of the weird things about removing the piping is when you remove pipes, the gas in there, I think, if I recall correctly, kind of disappears. Oop, I had my jetpack on. So I've been introducing nitrogen into this farm anyway. My bad. Alright, so I have destroyed the pipes. Oh, and there's actually one more pipe hiding under the radiator. Crunk, clunk. Alright, so the pipes are gone. The canister, discarded. I can vacuum seal that one out in the future if I want to, and use it for some other task. But yeah, that one's tainted now. The pipes, now that they're emptied, won't have anything in... Well, yeah, they won't have anything in them because they were vacuumed. And then I'm just going to put the pipes back, like that. And now if I analyze those pipes, they can't have anything in them because why would they, right? They're just vacuum. There's nothing that has ever been introduced in them. Let's put the radiator back. And then analyze the atmosphere in here. And it is, voila, CO2 and O2. Exactly what we wanted. And then proof that we aren't just scrubbing it out, I guess I can turn this off. Because now that I've actually fixed the problem and found the source of the pollutant, which is probably just one time I didn't allow this airlock section to depressurize and I introduced some Martian gas, I permanently introduced, you know, the Martian gas to the farm and screwed it up. Alright, let's go empty out this canister so I can use it in the future and not be responsible for the weird gases that are in there. And of course, these gases aren't going to waste. They're being pumped into this vent, and then that vent leads to my holding tank, which then leads to all the atmospherics and stuff. So we're actually keeping whatever gas was in this canister this way. Alright, done. And then, for the very last act of this episode, the proof that my effort has been worth it. Yep, there we go. We don't have any X or N2 in here. And as long as I keep my jetpack off, that will remain to be true. Voila! Alright guys, well that was a very productive episode of doing a lot of multitasking things. I hope you followed, I hope you appreciated. Thanks to all of you for continuing to support this series. I will catch you all later, and if you have tricks, tips, feedback for me, drop me a line. Adios!